What's up, everybody? It's me, only here with a brand new challenge series. So one day while I was playing Pokemon Go, I kind of wondered why I even still play it. Excluding raids, the Pokemon available, they don't really feel like they're worth getting. So I know I like Karen and the Elite Four down. I'm sorry, but I'm trying to learn VGC, so I need all the help I can get here. So I asked myself, is it even possible to build a viable team in Pokemon Go, and can that team be brought to like the highest rank, like the Master Ball tier? Can I get these Pokemon to go to the top? So I set out, caught some Pokemon, built the team in game, and jumped on the ladder. Let's see how it goes. Alright, welcome back to part 2. If you guys are enjoying this series, please leave a like down below. It means the world to me. Put a lot of work into this. So looking at Chris's team, let's just get right into it. We've got just a whole bunch of good stuff here. Like, I wasn't sure if I could bring Gastrodon just because of Rillaboom there. I was kind of scaring it out. So I figured Garchomp to maybe kind of counter that Urshifu there. That was kind of my whole reason for building that Garchomp. So we're sitting at 6 and 2 here. And they lead the Urshifu or Rillaboom, two of my favorite Pokemon of Regulation D. So looking at this lead here, I'm kind of expecting them to expect me to switch in Gastrodon with Urshifu there. So I just wanted to go for Terra Blast right onto Rillaboom. That way I can go Bulldoze, Terra Blast, get the speed drop, my Tyranitar outspeeds, take up a knockout, and all they had was like switch out a Pokemon. But I misread that. They go for the fake out onto my Tyranitar, who gets flinched. Obviously, Lycanroc does go for Bulldoze, outspeeds Urshifu in the sand. The reason that I was fine doing for this play was I know my Tyranitar can live a 3-hit Surging Strikes to the face. Ends up living on like 10 or 20 or something like that, but it's enough that I would be able to pick up a big knockout, and I'd feel comfortable taking out Urshifu. But I decided, alright, well, I got nothing else to switch in, so I'm going to send in my King Gambit and pivot out my Tyranitar because they didn't target it last turn. They're definitely going to both target it this turn. I'm going to send in the Garchomp here, since that's a slot I think they're going for, but they actually end up protecting their Urshifu. So I am so far 0 for 2 with my calls out of my opponent's moves. They go for a Stomping Tantrum on my King Gambit, which does a little bit more damage than I wanted it to, but I'm able to follow up with a Poison Jab, which I think should do a little bit more damage than they did to me. Next turn I am good to follow up with a Sucker Punch, pick up the knockout on the Rillaboom. So again, hoping that they still just Surging Strikes this Garchomp, and then I can follow up with the Dragon Claw. Oh, I actually outsped because of the Bulldoze, but that's okay too. So unfortunately, they target the King Gambit, which takes 3 Surging Strikes to the face. Well, yeah, it's kind of not what I want here. My opponent then is going to send in their Cresselia, and this kind of feels weird. I feel like I have no choice but to try and Sucker Punch it. I don't think they're going to try and set up the Trick Room or anything like that because my Pokemon are obviously slower. So I do about 50% there as they Terrastalize their Urshifu. At this point, I'm just trying to get a flinch. I am desperate to try and pull off something weird. Bleeding comes off, doesn't do too much damage to the Garchomp. Honestly, it lived that much better than I thought it would. And here we go. This is why I built this Garchomp right here. Look at all that. Look at all that chip. It's so fast now. I sped it up because, again, we don't have all the time in the world to be watching these. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Rocky Helmet probably would have. If I put Rocky Helmet on it, that would have been the play because that Urshifu would have just fainted. But the following turn, they end up going for the Protect. So I Stomping Tantrum into that slot. So the next one that I do click is going to be twice as strong. My opponent ends up going for Moonlight on the Cresselia, which is kind of weird because it doesn't have Lunar Blessing, I guess. I think I went for Iron Head thinking that they weren't going to go for an attack, which I did call that correctly, as both the sand and the grassy terrain leaves the field. Them knowing that Sucker Punch is a move, they go for the Aqua Jet to finish off my King Gambit. Get the crit. I don't know if that honestly mattered. It might have to pick up the KO, but again, I don't see my Garchomp living this follow-up attack. So honestly, not the worst game, but I do pick up the knockout on the Urshifu and the Rillaboom, so I feel kind of good about that. The non-spread Dazzling Gleam comes off. Oh, my Garchomp actually lives it. So now I have one out, I'm pretty sure, which is oh, they have another Pokemon. Yeah, alright. I have absolutely no out here. I have my Tyranitar, who is going to set up the sand. Can live a little bit more damage. I honestly forgot I had this when I was editing, I guess. So we're going with it. It's 2v2. They got Flutter Mane, Crest, Flying type Tyranitar, and Garchomp, who's gone his last leg. So Dazzling Gleam comes off, does massive damage to my Tyranitar, and Garchomp goes down. I really got, one move? I have to hit a crit onto Flutter Mane, I think, which I do a lot of damage, but it's just not enough. Do I flinch to Cresselia? I do not, so I'm just going to take that Gleam. I live on 7, but guess what? I'm going out on my own terms. I am going to get chipped by my own Sandstorm, and that is a game there. So I do lose this game. Maybe I should start bringing Gastrodon. That's what I'm going to do going forward. Lose some points. I'm still in the rank 7, so let's see how the next game goes. Okay, so coming after a loss isn't ever really fun, but what we learned is if we see Urshifu to actually bring Gastrodon and not just think we brought Gastrodon, or make them think we brought Gastrodon. So I'm bringing the same lead I brought last game, and I'm going to bring Arcanine and Gastrodon in the back here. So my opponent leads Flutter Mane and Tornadus, so I'm kind of expecting a Tailwind, Dazzling Gleam, or Moonblast. There's nothing really saying that wouldn't be a great play for them. They are speed boosting Photosynthesis with the booster energy. So they go for Terra, but it's Terra Grass, so I'm like, okay, well, that'd be bad for my Tyranitar if I didn't Terrasilize as well this turn. So I now have the type matchup against Flutter Mane, which is kind of weird. They do go for Flutter Mane, but or they go for Tailwind rather, and Flutter Mane then goes for Energy Ball onto the Tyranitar, who now resists it. So honestly, in a million years, I would have never predicted the Terra Grass Energy Ball Flutter Mane, but I did somehow. Go for a Rock Slide on the Lycanroc and another Rock Slide to almost get the double knockout there. Tornadus goes down, so no Bleak Wind Storm. There's no speed getting lowered. I did get a special defense drop, which is kind of unfortunate on the Tyranitar, but honestly not the end of the world. And I learned from my mistakes. I'm bringing Gastrodon right out. Energy Ball does fire off into the Lycanroc, and boy oh boy am I glad I brought Gastrodon this game. So that was my misplay. The crit definitely didn't matter. Terra Grass boosted Energy Ball 4 times effective. No chance I'm living that one. Tyranitar then gets Surging Strikes a whole bunch of times to the face. Do we live it? On 6, because this Tyranitar is the greatest Pokemon of all time. And I get to fire off the Terra Blast. I'm not going to target Flutter Mane here because I have the Sand Up. There's no way that they're going to continuously live. And I just get the one-hit knockout on Urshifu. And honestly, like, that just felt great. So I go down to my Life Orb, so I don't even die to the chip there, or to Sandstorm. So that, I don't know. I feel like that was worth mentioning. And then, yeah, Flutter Mane also takes some chip damage. And now we have an absolutely clean field. And now I have, Lycanroc and Arcanine remaining, as my opponent has just a Rillaboom. Alright. So in comes my Lycanroc, who is now super fast because Sand is still up. I still have my Focus Sash intact. So yeah, if they want, they can fake me out. That's totally fine, but I still have an Arcanine who's just safe to go for any sort of Flare Blitz if they want. And I also get the Intimidate, which is definitely nice because we don't want to get hit with a bunch of Stomping Tantrums. I went for Extreme Speed, Close Combat. I wasn't sure if it was going to outspeed my Arcanine. So I just figured I'd rather get some damage than no damage. And looking at the damage that was given, I think this was the right play. Hammer does go off into Arcanine and does about half. But now I definitely think with the Extreme Speed, I can totally get the knockout this next turn. So, I mean, Gastrodon really did nothing, but we did win when we brought it. So let's just keep that going. Alrighty, so on to the next game, game 11. Looking at this team, I have no clue what the goal is or anything like that. I think it's supposed to be a singles team, but just because I see talk specs, I haven't played singles in forever, so I honestly have no idea. Obviously, I'm going to go with my comfort lead here. They lead Crest and Lycanroc, so I feel pretty safe to just Terrasilize in the event that they close combat Tyranitar. I'm pretty sure Lycanroc gets that. So, again, I'm just going to click Rock Slide on my Lycanroc. See what I can do here. It does very good damage, honestly, and I get the flinch onto their Lycanroc. And I follow up with Assurance onto Cresselia, pick up the knockout. That is another reason why this Tyranitar is honestly just so great. I can just pick up big knockouts onto Cresselia with my Lycanroc lead here. So they send out their Garganacl, and it's Terra Ghost, so I can't go for close combat. I can't go for any sort of Endeavor either. However, I go for Bulldoze. I lower the speed of the Lycanroc, so my Tyranitar should be able to outspeed this turn. And I go for Rock Slide, pick up the knockout onto the Lycanroc, so I'm doing pretty good so far. And with this Terra Ghost now onto the Garganacl, I actually can go for Assurance again. And I pick up another flinch. So my opponent probably isn't the happiest camper right now. I don't blame them. They go for the Baneful Bunker, thinking that I'm going to target the Toxapex. I want to get this Terrestrialized Garganacl out just before it does anything weird. So I go for Bulldoze, super effective, onto the Toxapex, and I also just want some sort of guaranteed damage onto Garganacl to boost the power of my Assurance. And they're actually not Clear Body, they're probably the Purifying Salt, so there you go. The Assurance does fire off, picks up the knockout onto Garganacl. So the Lycanroc Tyranitar combo here is just too strong, especially with the flinches. Let it be known that actually on Team Preview I did select Gastrodon, and I did win again. So if you made it this far, comment Gastrogod down below, because this is all Gastrodon's doing. Hopefully I stay this lucky in the next game. Getting into the next tier of Great Ball almost, or the next level, I guess. I'm looking at my opponent's team. They've got Zapdos, Urshifu, Fluttermane, Rillaboom, Landorus, and Heatran. All very scary Pokemon. I don't really have the best answers for Intimidate. I don't think I have Defiant on King Gambit, I guess, but Heatran also, I didn't really have a good game plan on to how to handle Heatran, but they lead Fluttermane, Zapdos, which honestly I've got a decent amount of rock type moves here, so I feel like I should be able to do a decent damage to Zapdos here. And I don't want to get hit with a fairy type move, so I think I decide to Terrestrialize my Tyranitar again. So both firing off our turn 1 Terrestrializations. That tends to be a very common thing, but nothing wrong with that. Rock Slide doesn't do jack to the Zapdos, but I get the flinch on something. I get the flinch on Fluttermane. Zapdos sets up Tailwind, so going forward, it doesn't look like I'm going to get any flinches because they definitely have speed on their side. And then I missed the Rock Slide onto Zapdos, but I am able to pick up the knockout onto Fluttermane, so I think I'm fine with that. They send out the Rillaboom. Not a Pokemon I really like seeing, but I think here I should be okay to go for Bulldoze. Oops, they end up faking me out, so no Bulldoze. Bulldoze would have been really nice because I would have been able to hit the Zapdos with it as well. I probably should have protected the Tyranitar there. I don't know if that crit mattered because I don't get the special defense boost that I think Rock type gets in Sand because I Terrestrialize out of Rock type. But speaking of Rock types, I'm going to send in my Arcanine. I have a good matchup against both of these Pokemon. Go for close combat onto the Zapdos. Pick up the knockout. It's a critical hit. This Lycanroc, man. This Pokemon also has grown on me immensely because of this team. But it's Rocky Helmet. Not that, well, I guess it doesn't matter anymore because it's gone now. So that's great. And now I have this Rillaboom that's facing down my Arcanine. I think it's going to outspeed because they have the Tailwind up. Looks like it's going to pick up the knockout onto Lycanroc. Rillaboom, for some reason, I didn't realize its attack stat is just so high. It's like incredibly high, and then it's got Stab, and it's got Grassy Terrain. This was also before Grassy Glide was a thing, but just nuke it with a Flare Blitz, and that's a problem for past Mitchell. And now they have their final Pokemon, everyone's favorite Urshifu. But guess what? Gastrodon's actually going to come in here and do some work. So they cannot follow up with a Surging Strikes here. So they have no choice but to go for the close combat and drop their defenses as Gastrodon sits here. And I think I can live any close combat at least once. So I go for the Yawn. They can close combat me once. I get to survive it. And now they're at -2 in both defenses. So I'm pretty safe to just fire off an Earth Power. I've got Ice Beam, but that's going to be resisted. So Earth Power goes off. Almost picks up the one-shot, but that's alright. Sandstorm does go away. I don't think that's really necessary because Urshifu takes a nap and then gets hit with another Earth Power. So Gastrodon doing what it was built to do for my team. I am so happy that Gastrodon was able to shine here. Part 2 is definitely Gastrodon's part. Looks like we got time for one more game this episode. Alright, so hopefully we're going to have a nice, good game here. I made it to rank 8, so I'm almost out of Great Ball, and this is a team that I'm familiar with. Not because I'd used it. I saw the code and saved it, and I thought it'd be a great team to feature on the channel. But I saw so much talk about it on Twitter about how everyone was just like, okay, we're done with it, stop using it. So I knew what the goal was. I knew it's, they have Moody on the Scovillain. They try and feint with Scovillain using Rage Powder, stuff like that. Get Power of Alchemy onto the Muck and just spam Minimize, try and get a bunch of evasion boosts, and then they switch something in with Stored Power. So with that being their goal, I figured I'm just going to try and spam some Rock Slides. Rock Slide Squad here. So I actually want Bulldoze here, just because, I'm immune to it. I'm going to get some chip. There's no sashes going around here. So get the speed drop, and that way also nothing's going to outspeed my Tyranitar. Rock Slide, obviously, protected Muck, does nothing. Scovillain stood absolutely no chance, but that's kind of what they want in a weird way, because now the Power Alchemy is going to pick up the Moody. Also, if there's a team that could use Power of Alchemy in a cool way, I want it. So if you can think of anything, feel free to comment down below. They get special attack boost and special defense drop, so nothing that's good for them. And as you guys know in previous games, I have one fantastic way to deal with Cresselia. Rock Slide Assurance going to pick up that clean knockout. And now their Muck is just kind of sitting there like, well, you were kind of supposed to sit around and heal me. But it's okay because they can't attack. I get the flinch. And they disconnect because RNG was not in their favor as they hoped it was with their Moody strategy. Thank you guys so much for watching. I recorded this right after the first one went live. I saw a bunch of comments. Shane, Cody, you guys know who you are. Thank you so much. Honestly, it makes my day seeing that notification pop up. With this suggestion, the daily incense team, should it be one daily incense and I just have to hopefully get enough Pokemon to build it? Or should I do like a week's worth or something like that? Let me know down below. I am very curious and a little intrigued. I don't know if the synergy will be there. It really depends on the luck of the draw. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hopefully will see you in the last and final episode coming out hopefully next week.